is all he needs to show as proof that he can lead the party to victory in the 2028 elections.
Delegates who are hereby gathered, I want you to know one thing. As a young man growing up in the Ashanti and Western region, father who was uneducated, mother who was uneducated, spending substantial part of my time on the cocoa farm. I never expected that one day I'll be here, and on this day I will be filing my nomination to contest for the flagbearer party. But that day has come. With all humility, we are going to begin the process. I know you know me as a former Minister for Education. And I know there are many of you who meet you on the street. And you talk about the work that I did as the Minister of Education. Having been given opportunity by the President and all that good father, I began my work transforming public schools. I began my work bringing STEM education to Ghana, revamping Tibet education. Now the testimony is there for you to see.
And apologies for the poor quality of the sound there. But for Dr. Bawumia, campaign is not for the rich. He insists that he is the best man for the top job.
My vision is to introduce measures that reduce the cost of living for the average Ghanaian and support for the vulnerable. My vision is to adopt a constituency-based development and budgeting framework in which local people benefit the most and the well-being of the individual is enhanced. My vision is for a modern, digitalized economy that offers equal opportunities to all, including women, the physically challenged, and the grassroots, not just for the rich. My vision is for the credit system to be accessible to all Ghanaians, as it is the case in the advanced countries. My vision is to energize domestic production and job creation and lessen the fiscal burden by dedicating 3% of our GDP of expenditure currently undertaken by the public sector to the private sector, with procurement being done locally. My vision is to achieve all this, starting with a strong, disciplined, united, new patriotic party. All my life, this country and this party have given me so much. I feel an overwhelming sense of duty to give back.
So that's former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on his, speaking to the party supporters after he filed his nominations today at the party headquarters. My colleague Kenneth Jesse was there and just returned and joins me in studio with some more details. Kenneth, at the close of nominations today, who and who managed to squeeze in and file their candidature?
Well, the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the former Education Minister, Dr. Yao Seduchum, were the last candidates that filed their nomination today. And this filing of nomination started earlier this week on Tuesday. It began on Monday, rather, with the former General Secretary of the party, Kwabena Ejapon. And then the following day we had, which was Wednesday. We had Brian Echampon, the former Agric Minister, and then we also had the former Asin Central MP, Kennedy Ejapon, also filing his nomination. So all five who picked have submitted a nomination form. One of them expressed interest, but eventually dropped out. That was Yao Adenimo. So now we have just five candidates who have picked and have been able to file their nomination. And the nomination, coincidentally, closes today.
So it means that 5 people will be slugging it out for this particular one. But after the nominations, what did the party say? Did they give any timeline as to what to expect next?
No, they haven't given timelines yet. But what was very peculiar about this particular filing of nomination was the pomp and pageantry that greeted it. It was quite interesting, beginning on Tuesday when Kwabena Japan was the first to file his. Saw supporters troop in, dance and then cheer him on that he was the candidate that was going to win. And the following day, which was the Wednesday, you also had the 2 other candidates who joined in, Brian Echampon and Kennedy Japan, also coming with their, a slew of supporters also, cheering him on. And then the event was no different today. I think it's a show of, yes, I have the crowd. This one also wants to show that they have a crowd. So really, it's been a very busy week for the New Patriotic Party, and thankfully it has concluded today. But this is just the start of a long process to the January 31st event.
Okay, do stay with me. I have one question for you, but let me bring in Musa Danka, who is the executive director of the Global Info Analytics. They have been conducting some surveys into who will lead the party or who can lead the party into the 2028 elections, and he joins me on the phone line. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, your polls have all indicated that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is winning. As of today, do we know who is leading still and by what margin?
Thank you very much for having me. We have not done new poll beside what we published recently. So as far as MPP race is concerned, what we have now is the 52% lead for Dr. Bawumia and 17% for Kennedy Japan, 3% for Brian Achampon, 1% Idichum, 18% undecided, and 9% I will not tell you. So from our side, we haven't seen any new data nationally.
We have about 4 months away from their primaries on 31st of January, 2026. If you look at the surveys that you're doing, what could change before then?
Look, from what I said, I would add the 9% undisclosed to Kennedy Japan's numbers. I believe they are Ken voters. Then the fight would be for the remaining 18%. Who say that they are undecided. I expect the candidates to look out for where they can find these undecided voters and go to them in terms of reach out. Now, from the data, we've seen certain regions show higher number of undisclosed or undecided. If I was their campaign strategist, I will focus my attention in those areas so that I can maximize the resources that I have.
So you say that the 9% are Kennedy Japan voters. Why do you feel so?
I believe so, yes.
What makes you believe so?
Because in the last surveys we've been doing, before the last primaries, we realized that their behavior at the election was similar to what we thought. Because they were the ones who normally kind of don't like us to know that they are against the system. They are the anti-establishment people who don't want to disclose. In the last election, it was about 14% when they were in power. Now that they are not in power, it dropped to 9%. So we believe that is consistent with what we believe in.
Is there still an establishment candidate in this race?
I think so. The party can say that Bawumia is the establishment candidate. I can say that without doubt.
All right. With all those numbers, could someone topple someone at the helm of affairs before that particular day?
No, for someone to topple someone, you have to go into the column of that person and win votes away from him. Because if Bawumia is on 52%, that is above what is required to win the primary. So for Kennedy to win, he needs to persuade people who are saying they would vote for Bawumia to come to his column or come back to his camp and vote for him. Without that, it will be difficult.
So the Bawumia camp can say that based on your survey that it will be a done deal for them no matter what.
If I am one of them, I'll be very, very worried because we have some time to go and they are not well ahead in terms of the required percentage to avoid runoff. And if you have a situation where Kennedy supporters go up by the undecided voters and the rest, you have a close election. So he needs to work hard to increase his numbers, whereas Kennedy needs to go into Baumia's numbers and take numbers from there.
I'm grateful to you, Musa Danko, for joining us here.
My pleasure.
He is the executive director of the Global Info Analytics. Ken, let me wrap up with you. What's next?
Right, so today is the closing of nomination, which is the 28th of August. Now, vetting will begin on September 15th to the 22nd. And then there's got to be recommendations of vetting reports to the National Council. That is set for the 29th of September. And then the submission of petition, if any, if there are any petitions that anyone has raised. The window for the submission is between the 30th of September to the 3rd of October, and then the NEC, that is the National Executive Council, and the National Council will meet to make a decision on the 7th of October. The publication of nominees will happen on the 8th. Balloting will be done on the 10th of October. Notice of poll will be published on the 17th of October, and the election proper will be held on the 31st of January 2026. And in the case that there is a runoff, that will be held on 14th February 2026.
Thank you very much. That's Ken Jesse there. Let me bring in the MP for Walewale, Dr. Tia Kabiru Mahama, who is a member of the Baumia campaign team. I'm grateful to you, Doc, for joining. Now, you heard Musa Dankwa there. He says, you must be worried because the numbers you have, if you don't work hard, could push this primaries into a runoff, which will not be good for you. What's your strategy?
Well, so I'm saying good evening to you and good evening to your cherished listeners. And also, good evening to the many party supporters who came to support the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to submit and file his nomination form. My friend and my brother, Musa Donko, has expressed an opinion based on some work he has done on the New Patriotic Party presidential primaries. I, as a researcher myself, do understand that is a snapshot analysis. Snapshot in the sense that it reveals the situation at a particular point in time. And that as days goes by and we ramp up our campaign, the picture will definitely not be the same. We are not complacent, despite the fact that we know for certain that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is leading the polls. We know that he has the goodwill of majority of the MPP supporters. We know that he is the most prepared, formidable, and winnable candidate, and which is reflecting in the decisions that the people, the MPP delegates are making, and they are deciding in the polls, which they will definitely decide in the final election. We are not complacent. We are not complacent because we understand that to win, you need to continue working. And if you know, and if you monitor, as we speak, from the last poll, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has intensified visibility and his campaign teams have traversed almost every single corner of the country as we speak. After the filing of the nomination, he's going to also hit the ground. So definitely, we are going after every single vote. We are going after every single person who has a stake as far as the New Patriotic Party presidential primaries are concerned. So we are very prepared. We are not being complacent despite the fact and obvious fact for that matter that we are in a lead, but we will continue working and we would continue to engage people. And then one-on-one engagement with the presidential candidate or aspirant and one-on-one engagement with the campaign team is what we are going to use to ensure that everyone who probably still don't have, people who don't still have faith in the candidature of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will review their notes, will come to terms that, look, the bottom line is the New Patriotic Party wants power. And to get the power, you must present your best foot forward.
All right. Do stay with me. Let me come in studio and welcome Yao Poku Mensah, who is spokesperson for Dr. Yao Seyaduchum. I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, you've heard the Musa Dankwa there. The rating on the survey does not really favor your camp. How do you see this particular race, and how do you see your chances of winning this race when you see two clear or three, as people put it, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kennedy Japon, Brian Achampon leading?
No disrespect Respect to him. I do value his contribution within the political space, what he's been able to achieve within this couple of years that he's been in this business. But it's per his post that he put out, something that we have vehemently opposed or denied it as not having any basis. We do have our own internal mechanism to know the strength of our candidate, and it is upon that conviction that has enabled how him travel this far. Within our own polls, we do our own polls to see where the loopholes are, where the highs are, and where the lows are. And it's something that we use in strategizing. It's something that we are using in ensuring that where we fall short in terms of the voting pattern, we're able to work on that. But one thing that we should understand is that this is purely a delegate election. We are not looking at the fanfare of the whole process. For example, if I want to engage the polling station chairman for Obrieboa polling station in Subin constituency, that wouldn't be a media fanfare for me to be in the public space to be announcing it or shouting for people to know that I'm really on the ground and I'm really working. I don't think this requires certain form of endorsement for people to see that indeed I'm projected within a certain light, and at the end of the day I'll be the one to win. That can be done by those who do believe in that strategy. Our strategy is quite different, and I believe that if indeed the survey was done at the base, it wouldn't have given the kind of reflection that we are having today.
He got the last election right.
That's why I do value and cherish. I do respect his work within that space. But for this one, that can never be the case, because we do also trust in our numbers. And looking at the process, we wouldn't have come far.
So what percentage are you winning by?
Yeah, we do have quite respectable margin. And no, I'm not putting out any numbers for now, because these are early days yet.
No, you're barely 4 months away from the primaries.
That's quite enough time for us to still double our steps. That's why I'm saying that we are treating this contest purely as an internal thing, and we are not coming out to engage within that euphoria bit for the general entire public to say, oh, Dr. Duchum is a popular candidate, he's on the ground, etc. Where we do believe that the actual work is done at the polling station.
So you're working on the ground.
Exactly. Okay. It is a tailored mechanism that we are using to engage the delegate whilst we move forward. So that's why our internal poll is able to advise us as to where we need to double our steps, as to where we need to deepen our conversation with regards to this whole process. That is why we have a sharp contrast to what Musa Dankwa put out, because we don't.
If you say you have a sharp contrast, then you should give us numbers, because he has given numbers. What numbers do you have?
What numbers do we have?
Yes.
No, listen. I think probably you want me to repeat myself.
No. You said that you have a sharp contrast.
Yeah, we have a sharp contrast.
So the contrast should come with numbers.
No, our survey, our data tells us that we have a firm footing within this process.
All right, I'm grateful. Do stay with me. Let me bring in Kwesi Kwatin, who speaks for the Kennedy Japan camp. Kwesi, grateful for joining. Now, you filed yours yesterday. Today, you've seen Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia filing. You've seen Dr. Osei Duchum also filing. I mean, if you see the numbers, were you deterred in any way? What does that bring any kind of shake in your camp when you saw the numbers today at the head of a party office?
Good evening to you, Kojo, and my colleagues, and good evening to the good people of Ghana. I'm sure if the question is about numbers, then maybe the question is misdirected.
Okay.
Because objectively, we also the numbers.
Okay.
Where our credibility as a team was even questioned, and people even accused us of having rented the numbers. So I think if it is about numbers, I'm not sure.
You had more than them.
No, but I mean, I because I'm saying an objective observation, which everybody saw. We have been the only team so far that has been accused of having rented numbers without even any proof from our accusers. So in terms of the numbers, it's obvious.
So today, the former flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, sought to answer some of the things you've said. I mean, he says some people may have the money, but over the years, he's put himself out there. He's put his knowledge out there to defend the party. And that's why he believes that the delegate will continue to give him the mandate to lead your party.
Yeah, I'm listening.
What's your reaction to it? I mean, your campaign has been on the fact that we're not talking about ideas. We're talking about people who can create the jobs. His response is that you may have the money, but I have been the one defending the party and making sure we build the party the way it must be. And therefore, I believe that I'm the one best suited for this job.
So, Kojo, I'm not even sure in terms of our campaign. I don't know whether that job, who that job was directed to. But even in the case of Canada, Japan, we have not even been talking about money. We are talking about winning power so that we'll be able to translate those ideas into results. Ideas alone cannot win election. No matter how beautiful your ideas are, if you do not win power, those ideas will just stay in the bedrooms of individuals who gave birth to those ideas. And, I mean, with time, they even become obsolete. What we are saying is that we need to get a winnable candidate, a marketable candidate. It is important at this point to also separate visibility from marketability. Somebody could be well visible, but not necessarily be marketed. I mean, that is, for instance, the case of Dr. Baumia. He has all the visibility, but marketability has to translate into acceptance. If we look at the results of the last election, where in the northern parts of the country, he reduced his votes by 16.1%. In the southern regions, he reduced by 33%. In the national average, he reduced by 31%. Clearly, that is not acceptability or marketability.
But there are several members of parliament who also dropped a lot of votes, but they are in parliament. So what is the anchor of that analysis to say because he dropped vote, he's not supposed to be given the chance again?
Can you repeat your question?
I'm saying that there are several members of parliament who also dropped votes in the last election. He wasn't alone in this, yes?
Because people, you see, the popularity of the presidential candidate mostly moves the parliamentary candidates. If 2.1 million Ghanaians or 2.1 million of your voters do not come out to vote, how are you expecting the parliamentary candidates' votes to go up? And so it's obvious, it's understandable that parliamentaries will also drop votes. It is the more reason why, as I speak with you, in 9 regions out of 98 seats, we are having just 5 of them, and NDC is having 93 of them. So it demonstrates to you the poor performance that we witnessed in the last elections.
So why do you seek to put everything on him as if you know that all of you, I mean, it demonstrates that all of you were dropping point. Why blame him alone as the one who lost more and therefore should not be allowed to repeat?
Because history is there to guide us. History is there to guide us that in the history of the MPP, every presidential candidate had increased the vote of his predecessor. And in this case, it is only Dr. Baumia who dropped the vote of his predecessor by 31%.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama to wrap up. Kabiru, so here you are. You're being told that because of the performance in the last election, he must not be allowed to represent the party again as a flag bearer.
Well, so
Kabiru, do I have you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Concerns raised by our colleagues, we will take them on board. Of course, our campaign is not to attack any candidate, but come to think of it, a candidate who has about 42% of the voters in his pocket, and someone who has 0. I mean, where do you start from? Someone who needs just 9%, and someone who is coming to Ghana 50 plus 1%. Definitely, you will not be a good risk taker if you want to take risks and you go for someone who has 0%. Definitely, you will go for someone who has 42%, at least to start with. That should be the analysis if we're actually interested in power. And I think that the performance of the MPP is not peculiar to say the presidential candidate, you have drawn his attention to the fact that members of parliament, if it was the problem of Bawumia, they would have come out to vote for their members of parliament and leave Dr. Bawumia. But they had problems. Our members, our supporters didn't turn out to vote. And they were having reasons why we didn't. None of the reasons attributed. And the commission, the committee that was set up to inquire, none of the reasons stated that it was Bawumia personality that made them not to come and vote.
Okay. Kabir, I'm grateful to you. Let me have a response from Kwating, and then I'll come to studio and wrap up. Yeah, Kwating, you wanted to respond.
Yes.
Briefly.
The logic of this 42% being banded around is very disturbing. And I'm surprised it's coming from the people who claim they know data and they are data people. If we are to sustain the logic that Dr. Bawumia has 41 or 42%, then it presupposes that by the extension of that logic, NDC also has 56%. We shouldn't be going to vote even in the first place for 2028.
So you doubt you had 42%?
No, but at the end of the day, each election cycles are different. They are independent. How do you say that you have 41?
Okay, I'm grateful to you. Yes, let me come into the studio and take your concluding remarks from you. Yes.
Yeah, I think now we are all starting from the base, and the base is where all individuals who are vying for this flag bearership thing should be looking at.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want to fancy the idea of a certain 42% vote sitting somewhere for us.
Okay.
Yeah, we know that is our core party base, but again, the significant thing has got to do with the ability to cross the 50% plus one.
Right.
That is where we need to focus our attention on, and that is why Dr. Osei Duchum is in this race to win and win power for the NPP come 2028 elections.
Okay.